including testing for identity of active ingredients through TLC, co-TLC, sophisticated instruments like HPLC, UV, IR spectrophotometer and GLC are used for separation and identification of important functional groups. An important category of homeopathic medicine, biochemic drugs, which are mainly made from inorganic compounds, are tested qualitatively and quantitatively through titration and atomic absorption spectrophotometer. This can detect the drug even in 1 part per million. Tablets are also tested for the presence of starch and ash value. Data generated on the basis of chemical analysis are used to put further standards for identity, purity and quality of the drug. Phytochemical and pharmaceutical divisions of Homoeopathic Pharmacopoeia Laboratory is well equipped with all equipment and technical expertise. Thin layer chromatography helps in separation of active ingredients as spots on thin silica absorbent layer over the glass plate, depending upon relative flow of each ingredient in the solvent system used. Each ingredient shows specific RF value in a solvent system to other. In addition to this, each ingredient on the chromatogram may depict specific color if the TLC plate is sprayed with specific reagents. UV spectrophotometer is used for estimation of active ingredients of drugs like alkaloids, glycosides, steroids and functional groups of compounds present in the drug. It gives characteristic absorption patterns and absorption maxima under UV light from wavelength 400 to 200 nm and for colored compounds from 400 to 800 nm. Using UV spectrophotometer, the drug can be characterized even with a few drops of sample, and the spectra so obtained is superimposed with the standard spectra stored in the computer. IR spectrophotometer is used for the characterization of active ingredients of drugs and for the determination of functional groups which help in evaluating the clinical action of the drug also. The laboratory is equipped with FT-IR, which is highly sensitive and gives a better resolution. Gas-liquid chromatography is used for the separation of volatile compounds present in the drug as well as in vehicles used in preparation of homeopathic drugs. Here, mobile phase is a gas which carries the ingredients in the vaporized state over the stationary phase, which is packed in long steel or glass columns or even several meters long steel capillary columns. Mixture of compounds gets separated when they move in these columns depending upon the retention period. Component parts are identified qualitatively with the retention time and quantitatively by the area of the peak. HPLC is an advanced form of column chromatography where the big column is replaced by a micro-packed steel column and mobile phase. Liquid is passed under high pressure, which speeds up the whole process of separation and performance. Various detectors like UV, refractive index, fluorescence detectors are used to find the micro quantities of the components. Computer-controlled data modules of HPLC record the retention time and amount of the drug components, which helps in qualitative and quantitative study of multi-component drug samples. Atomic absorption spectrophotometer is used for the testing and study of metallic drugs. Here the sample is subjected to an oxyacetylene flame at a very high temperature of 2200 to 2800 degrees centigrade, and at the very same time the light from the hollow cathode lamp made of the same elements passes through the flame and gives an absorption spectrum of the same elements. The instrument is used for the study of all biochemic drugs up to 6x potency and other such drugs having metal as their ingredient like copper, nickel, gold, silver, iron, lead, tin, zinc, etc. Polarimeter is used for determination of sugars based on the principle of optically active carbon present in the compound and has a property to rotate the polarized light. NMR will be used for the study of structural changes and identification of homeopathic potencies, where not a single molecule of drugs is present, and science cannot explain the nature and mode of clinical action of drugs. A good collection of standard samples of mother tincture, purified active ingredients for comparative studies, and laying down of standards are maintained by the laboratory. Testing of survey samples, samples referred from state governments and port authorities, and various government agencies under the provision of Drugs and Cosmetic Act 1940 and rules are done basically using ultra-modern technology. The microbiology section plays a unique but dual role in laying down standards for identity and testing of drugs prepared from microbes, diseased products like syphilitic or gonorrheic or tubervascular discharge. It was not until 1969 when severe eye injuries were detected in Sweden caused by ophthalmic preparations contaminated with Pseudomonas aeruginosa. In consequence, the Swedish demanded in as early as 1965 that ophthalmic preparations be sterile. The Schedule FF of Drugs and Cosmetic Act of Government of India clearly mentions that all eye drops should be sterile. So keeping this in mind, we test all eye drops for sterility. Liquid orals for contamination of pathogenic bacteria are also taken up. For the purpose, microbiology section is fully equipped with infrastructure like laminar flow, refrigerated centrifuge, etc. The laboratory maintains a no-sode bank where drugs prepared from pathogenic bacteria are stored at very low temperatures for the purpose of future reference studies. The laboratory also has a full-fledged library and documentation facility, providing a wide range of books, journals and periodicals in disciplines like botany, pharmacognosy, phytochemistry, homeopathy, pharmacology, microbiology, tissue culture and medicinal plants. Scientists and students from distant areas are regular visitors for consultation purposes. Samples for testing of quality and purity of homeopathic drugs are referred to the laboratory from all over India, specifically by drug inspectors, government dispensaries, etc. The samples are coded and decoded to avoid any chance of favoritism. If therapeutic value is to be maintained, quality and purity of drugs, even at the raw material stage, has to be maintained. Therefore, let our vision for standards and quality be very clear if we want to save the suffering humanity.